School on Wheels presents Adding and Subtracting Fractions, Part 2, Different Denominators. In the first video of our two-part series, Adding and Subtracting Fractions with Common Denominators, we learned that it is very simple to add fractions if you already have a common denominator. Here's an example problem for a quick review. If you have 4/10 and you add that to 3/10, you add the numerators and keep the denominator the same to get an answer of 7/10. Simple. In the second video in our series, we'll be discussing what to do when fractions have different denominators. Let's get to it. You need a common denominator when adding or subtracting fractions so that you are comparing the same size sections or pieces of the whole. For example, if you have 1/3 of one pizza and you want to add that to 1/4 of another pizza, you know that you have two slices of pizza, but they're different sizes. You have to make the denominator the same so that you can correctly compare the two fractions. So, what do we do if the fractions we need to add do not have a common denominator? First of all, don't panic. And second of all, you must get a common denominator. Follow these steps and you'll be on your way. Let's take the problem 1/6 plus 3/4. As you can see, our denominators are 6 and 4, definitely not the same numbers. In order to get a common denominator, you have to think of a number that is a multiple of both 6 and 4. A good starting point is to have students look at the denominator that is the larger number. So, in this case, the 6. Ask yourself, is 6 a multiple of both 6 and 4? In other words, can you multiply both denominators by a whole number to get 6? We can definitely multiply 6 by 1 to get 6, so that works. But there is not a whole number to multiply 4 by to get 6. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So we can't get an answer of 6 when we multiply 4 by a whole number. So go back to the 6 and try again. Since 6 didn't work as the common denominator, multiply it by 2 and try that number. We get 12. 12 is obviously a multiple of 6. But is it also a multiple of 4? Since 4 times 3 is 12, yes, it is. So 12 is our common denominator. There are other larger numbers that are both multiples of 6 and 4, like 24 or 36 or 48, but it is easiest to find the lowest number that works. So let's stick with the 12. Now, let's write two new fractions that are equivalent to the original fractions, but with a denominator of 12. Start by writing in the 12s in the denominator place, like this. Let's start with the first fraction. We multiplied 6 by 2 to get 12, so we must also multiply the numerator, the 1, by 2. This gives us a new equivalent fraction of 2/12. Do the same steps with the second fraction. We multiply the 4 by 3 to get 12, so we must multiply the numerator by 3 also to give us 9. Our new equivalent fraction here is 9/12. Now we have common denominators and are ready to add. 2/12 plus 9/12 gives us a sum of 11/12. That's our answer. Here's one more to try. What is 4/5 minus 2/3? Start with a 5 since it's the larger of the two denominators. 5 times 2 is 10. That won't work since 10 isn't a multiple of 3. We'll try 5 times 3 now. That gives us 15, and that works. Going through the rest of the steps will give us new equivalent fractions of 12/15 and 10/15. When we subtract these fractions, we will get the answer of 2/15. Great work. Try this one on your own, then we'll check your answer. What is 1/3 plus 5/12? You should have found an answer of 9/12, which can reduce to a final answer of 3/4. Here are the steps that got us here. We hope this review video helps to remind you the steps for adding or subtracting fractions with different denominators. Stay tuned for our next video, which will cover what to do when you have to regroup when subtracting fractions. Happy tutoring!